Hello and welcome to the second week of the FPL Quarantine Season 3. I'm joined today by Alex, Ryan, Thomas, and Teddy. Got some exciting battles to get into it. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the very first battle. Thomas and Alex.
I gotta say that Garchomp going for Aquatail on Lando at -1 felt kind of like a bit of a reckless move. Lando setting up on Garchomp was also kind of reckless. Thomas letting Scizor bullet punch his Lando was kind of like a waste. That Lando could have been a really useful stack later on. Just like, it could have helped me intimidate something right before it died. It could have done something more. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, like, as soon as Chomp was dead, then Draco's ult could click Volt Beak. Although Tangrowth switched in on it, I feel like just having the immunity gone was kind of a big deal for Draco's ult. Alex, what was the Tangrowth set? Was it really walled by the Corviknight?
The Tangrowth set was Giga Drain, Synthesis, Toxic, but also Sludge, Wave. One of them. The reason for that was that I was quite concerned about Lele for my team. To me, when I was building the team, I saw that as a threat, and that's part of why I brought Scizor. But in the end, I never even saw Lele, and I then didn't have what I needed to deal with Weavile and Corviknight.
Alex had a pretty solid core. I think that's just kind of how his team is oriented. He's got a lot of really bulky things that work well together, typing advantage-wise. I think in a battle like this, more could have been done to just keep them healthier. It was kind of unfortunate with the Flame Orb on Melodic, just kind of chipping it down. There you can kind of see the drawback of a set like that, where it was able to get knocked out by Weavile ultimately on the switch-in.
Yeah, and the Melodic, again, I was thinking, how can I handle Lele? And I got maybe too carried away with one Mon. And so I had a specially defensive Melodic because I thought I'd be able to control most of the other threats that way. And it ended up not being enough defensive points to deal with Weavile effectively enough, where if it was defensive Melodic, it might have handled that much better.
There was a turn where Thomas doubled to Weavile and Alex doubled to Tangrowth at the same time, and then Tangrowth stayed in to take 90 from a triple axle. And in a battle where you've sacked your ground type and you're looking at a Draco's ult, you really got to keep that Tangrowth healthy. Especially if there were switch-ins. He had a Scizor that was at 100% that could have come in.
What are your thoughts on the Rocky Helmet on Tangrowth doing so much to Weavile?
That freaked me out too. There was a moment on that triple axle when I didn't know how much the third one would do, and there's always a chance of one of them missing. And if one of them, if the third one misses, the second triple axle, I die before he does. So that was stressful.
Scary move.
What point in the game did you know that Draco's ult had this in the bag?
It wasn't until the final three. And even then, it wasn't until the crit on Scizor that I really felt confident. Just because, you get burned this many times. Who knows?
Sweet. All right, we'll turn to Trainer's Corner. Talk to Alex Hempel. What are your final thoughts on this game?
I think it just shows a couple things about, I think I looked at the battle at the start just with the teams, and I was like, this is not what I prepared for. And I was I was behind the 8-ball, and I knew I would have had to get a double right at some point to try to get out Draco's ult or Weavile or Corviknight at some point. And it's a classic problem for FPL trainers, which is looking at the first 8 Mons on a team and not the last ones at the bottom of the list, and not prepping properly for the entire team, focusing on the wrong thing.
You know what? I will say I have noticed that the 12 Mon team is really hard to prep for. You know, when
A
you
lot
can
of
only bring,
memories.
it's like you almost have to prep for like 2 whole different teams.
Well, it goes back to what we were saying in the draft analysis. It's really dangerous to try to counter team this season. Because like if you can't, like, if you're like, I'm gonna beat his front 6, and then he brings like the person brings the other 6, like you're fine. You gotta really like, it's really about building just like a solid team that can kind of deal with everything, and just hoping for the best. It's
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. All right, Thomas, Trainer's Corner. What are your thoughts about this game?
I mean, basically, I started the season. I picked up Drakezolt specifically so Ryan couldn't get Drakezolt. And I think if you look back at the messages immediately after the draft, I was looking to trade it, and I don't think that's the case anymore. I picked up Raikou as a 12th pick as a substitute Electricmon, and I think the stakes have absolutely changed, and Raikou is now one. So I don't regret Drakezolt, and I think I'll bring him back.
All right. So we'll move on to the next battle, Teddy versus Nico.
I realized that the team I brought was very, very weak to Hatterene, and like if I let it have the momentum, it 1v1 my entire team. I knew I had to put the pressure on it, like always. I could never let it come in and stay in for free. So that's why I was playing really aggressively from the start, I was really hoping I could trick it to the super slow and I could limit it to 1 move and counter it. When I tricked the Hippo, I kind of felt really good because I was like, all right, that's why I stopped treating it as a threat, and I really it has 112 attack, like it's no slouch. So I completely disregarded it, and I really shouldn't have. And then right when Hatterene got me, like that's what I was like. Okay, letting Hatterene stay in was like, that's exactly what happened there, where it was like, all right, I either switch to a Moongus and Toxapex and potentially take like 90 from a Psychic, or I stay in and die to a Energy Ball or Giga Drain or whatever. But I, tried to make a read and I got.
Yeah, kind of had to pick a sack there, really.
I got. It was, it was bad.
Yeah, I think the fact that it was Giga Drain meant that all the effort to pressure it kind of went for naught.
Toxapex and Amoonguss think they can come in on Azumarill, but like that Whirlpool Azumarill.
I want to talk about that play for a second, because like it was heat, but I do want to say I reacted really well at the beginning and end of that, because I knew I was worried about the Sap Sipper. So turn 1 when that Azumarill was in, I sludge bombed instead of scoring. So I got the momentum on him there, and at the end, I spored again, hoping he was going to switch out to anything but Hatterene, but he made the play of staying in.
Well, to Teddy's point, I thought it was a cool tech kind of move there, but it didn't kind of make sense. Like, especially when he used the rest to get to full health, it would have made more sense to switch out, I think,
In a perfect world, what should have happened is he stays in on me for 2 turns, and then on the Perish next turn, Azumarill switches out. I can't, because I'm still under Whirlpool that turn. So then I die, and Azumarill lives to do something else. So that was like
suddenly got a lot less exciting. I was
on
really
like a
hyped about that setup, but he fucked it up.
93-yard dash, like the end zone, and then fumbles at like the 5-yard.
Face plants.
But,
face plants over the line.
He won the battle, so he decided
You're
Azumarill
absolutely
was
right.
sackable, and he made that decision, and they came out on top. So
All right, yeah, because then and then as soon as that happens, we learn about Hippo v Grimmsnarl and just what a threat the Choice Scarf Hippo was to Teddy's team. So like, I'll just say like right away, as soon as that Earthquake did that much to Grimmsnarl, I was like, oh my god, he actually gets wrecked by Choice Scarf Hippo.
That's when I knew the battle was over. I was like, I can either hit him, switch out, or taunt him. And I was like, if I taunt him, I completely shut him down. And it's like,
except for the Earthquake.
I'm back in the driver's seat. And once again, I made the complete wrong move and just let Grimmsnarl, which was like, if Grimmsnarl was still alive, as long as Grimmsnarl was alive, I have a fighting chance. And I wasted my 1 chance of winning because I got greedy. I wanted to stun.
Yeah, like the Rotom had to come in on the earthquake, and it took the 25% from the rocks, and it couldn't switch back in. And Umbreon was a huge player in walling the Rotom. Just yeah, Scarf Hippo did a lot of work.
Scarf Hippo gave me the business, and I like, yeah, you gotta always acknowledge threats. Even when you trick something, it's still not dead. It's just like, it's been
It's
tricked.
just faster.
Scarf Hippo gave me the business.
So, Trainer's Corner. What are some of your thoughts, Teddy?
I tried to go for too much. I should have really played what was in front of me, not think too many steps ahead. I didn't prepare for enough Pokemon. My team was not at all ready for Hippowdon and Umbreon. Yeah, it's just you gotta team build, and you gotta predicting is always cool and fun, but sometimes you just gotta deal with what's in front of you. And yeah.
We'll move on to our next game, our longest game of the week. It is Jackson versus Ryan.
I had pretty much narrowed it down to just being worried about your top 8, really. The reason being is I was bringing Dugtrio. So I was thinking, okay, Heatran's gonna hopefully, get taken care of. Hopefully I can use that to deal with Zeraora. But also Magnezone and Marowak are both, gonna be taken care of as well. Regidraco didn't think in a million years would come. I've got 14 fairies on my team, so just ruled that out completely. So you got to make those decisions, and I was right about a lot of that, except for Marowak, which, to my dismay, does not get trapped by Arena Trap, folks. So we can all take out our notepads and write that one down, as I've found it the hard way. So that was a bit unfortunate, but I was definitely happy not to see Tornadus T. That just puts a ton of pressure on any team, given that I was looking at my team and discovered that you didn't even need to bring a Hurricane to, pretty much get a strong hit off on everything on my team. So I was happy to see that not be there.
The Poltergeist miss kind of hurt me a bit. I thought for sure having had Dugtrio dead at that point would have just been really nice.
Really nice.
Yeah, it was kind of like my all-purpose Coco switch, and I was kind of bummed when it died.
Yeah, it was a factor, especially given that I was able to get rid of rocks and keep them off. Rocks were actually a huge threat to my team, so that was nice. At one point, realized that Zeraora was faster than everything on my team, and pretty much got a kill on everything except basically Tapu Bulu at one point. So, definitely had to work hard for this one.
I'll add one more mod to highlight, which is the Tapu Bulu. It definitely did, it really was kind of the glue, I think, that just let Ryan kind of get through the battle a lot. It switched
Basically
in on a lot of things.
I mean, my only counter to Zeraora, for sure. So, yeah, keep using that properly, was one of the main considerations I had to be making.
I'd really like to shine the Mandibuzz. I think that Mandibuzz just really, really walled the Bulu. I was scared that you would run Leech Seed. I was scared that you would run Toxic, but none of that ended up happening. So once Bulu was poisoned, Mandibuzz just was sick. I will say, okay, one thing that I'm still salty about is the Thunderbolt on Mandibuzz. The crit did matter. He was Timid Coco, and it did matter. And having Mandibuzz around could have been the deciding factor.
I want to shout out the Curum, because it that entire battle, Jackson, I know you were sweating that Kyurem. Because it was just like, that entire battle to me felt like finding the perfect moment for Kyurem to come in, and then it just clicks freeze dry. Like, once Marowak dies, Kyurem comes in and can just freeze dry, and like, you might have weight, like the Yachiberry on Slowbro was cool, but you lose that 1v1 in the end, no matter what, especially if he has Roost. And just like, yeah, I think that Kyurem was just such a scary threat the entire battle that, like, yeah, it was just, it must have put such a burden on your team building, because you knew that just like, it's a problem no matter what.
Yeah, like Earth Power, Freeze Dry were the only two moves it needed to hit everything on my team for super effective damage, essentially. So I was really, really scared of it. Like, I brought Urshifu and Zeraora to deal with it. I brought Low Kick on Rillaboom to deal with it.
Nice.
It Okos. I thought Rillaboom had a chance. I honestly thought it was game with the Rillaboom.
Yeah, had a chance.
Pretty sure Ryan at one point said GG in the chat, and then there was confusion about GG
Jack said
for
GG,
who?
and I was like,
Oh,
yeah, and then you didn't win, and I was like, wait, like I thought you won, like you didn't break my sub or something, and I was like, oh wait, I thought you won already, and then now I don't know who's winning. It's like, what's happening?
Like, for me, as soon as you bounced, and I saw that the Future Sight couldn't break your sub, I knew the game was done.
I mean, to be honest with you, I was shaking on the timing of Future Sight as well. I thought I had 2 turns to wait before it hit, which was not the case. So I basically was just making the only conceivable play I could see maybe working out if you misplayed. And it really worked out to my advantage, obviously, in that Future Sight didn't break the sub, which changed the whole game. Not only that, you know, I was able to keep my sub up, but I was able to subsequently or avoid, you know, the Future Sights by playing bounce correctly. So, you know, I was kind of able to turn that end game into a win.
Yeah, it was a clear checkmate. You know, I'm glad Rillaboom got the kills. It did. Well, Trainer's Corner. Ryan, any final thoughts about this game?
Yeah, final thought about the game is shout out to Gyarados, homies. Like, this thing, anyone can win with broken Gyarados. Man, I threw this on this team kind of as an afterthought. I had, I don't know, something else on here, and I was just like, man, I don't know if this is going to be any good. Exodrill, I think I was trying to bring, and I was just like, this thing isn't going to do anything. Let's just toss on Gyarados and pray. And I was like, you know what, do I have to bring Waterfall? No. I just brought Bounce Earthquake, and then sub DD, and, you know, it was enough to win. So, shoutouts to my main man.
All right, my final thoughts about this game is essentially like, bless Rillaboom, like my MVP. I'm really glad he's getting every kill out here. You know, I felt pretty salty and bummed because I feel like I prepped really well for that game, and I feel like I did play it well in the moment, just couldn't clutch it out. So I do feel a little salty, but at the end of the day, you know, I'll see you in the playoffs, Ryan.
In the playoffs, bud.
And God bless Rillaboom's kill streak, you know. Got 2 deaths, but he's got 8 kills, so that's it. So, okay. Well, then the last battle. Rowan v Cam.
There was, like, both players had plays. It's just Cam had more. Yeah, this was just, like, a lot of, like, cool ideas. Or not just ideas, but, like, cool, like, there were, like, 2 big momentum shifts in this battle. I think, like, well, I guess I don't want to get into that. I guess we'll talk about, like, during the course of the battle.
So in the early game, it seemed pretty even. I think, like, between Swampert and Pelipper, and they were kind of, like, just exchanging rocks.
I do also want to, like, say Swampert taking, like, 55 from Energy Ball is not.
Yeah.
That's not real.
Yeah, ate that up.
Like that was a snap.
That was awesome.
That's a calc everyone should know. Energy ball. Like Jirachi, I know it's not stab, but like Jirachi has 100 and everything. I don't know what it was spec, but still, like
It
90
looks
power
like
big 90 power move to a 4 times a week. Like shit.
The Nido King was kind of a beast in there. Didn't really touch it much, and the toxic spikes were pretty key because there were a couple switch-ins there where he started to get Rowan started to get a few things poisoned. There was a Mew switch-in that got poisoned, and then he switched out and got a Sylveon poisoned right away. And so all of a sudden you have a few things that are poisoned, which is a bit problematic. So Nido King the toxic spikes definitely helped.
there's a lot to talk about this whole Dragapult sweep slash Ditto encounter. Teddy, you have anything to say about this?
Yeah, I guess, like, you know, when Rowan got the sub off, the momentum shifted greatly. Like, Rowan was, like, in the driver's seat there. The Ditto couldn't come in because of the substitute.
That was big. That was actually huge when the Ditto couldn't copy the Dragapult.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, every time you see a Ditto on the other side, you're always worried about setting up because, you know, that thing's going to come back and like, steal your stats. And Scarf Ditto's like the only set you run on it, so it's going to be as strong as you are, but faster.
The Ditto came in, and we know, you know, I guess we know he's got a sucker punch, really. And unfortunately for Rowan, he didn't really, have the prior knowledge that Ditto's run Scarf. So he was thinking, oh, it's a speed tie, you know, what happens? And I think, you know, switching out here would be a pretty standard play. Like, FOMO's at 41, that's a sack. And knowing that he was Scarf, he'd be able to play around. You know, if he's got to lock into something, then he's got to lock into, you know, Sucker Punch and Dragon Darts. Might not be enough. Although, honestly, locking into Dragon Darts might have been enough to win. But again, there's Sucker Punch in the back. So yeah, I think he would have switching out with the Dragon Ball in that event would have helped him. Not to mention the fact that he stayed in and attacked for the next few turns, knowingly sacking things while Dragapult was locked into Sucker Punch. So, you know, definitely could have been played differently.
And now, so let's go to the MVPs with Thomas, our MVP watch.
Also, if you ask me, we've got 2 stories and 1 fact. The fact is that Tapu Koko is good, Ryan's good, he's got 2 wins, I think. Tapu Koko is huge in week 1 and still making plays in week 2, not dying, getting kills, 4-1, good stuff. In terms of stories, we've got to talk about Rillaboom, because you're looking at 8-2, which is unseen in the league. No one else is close. He's just left, right, and center, killing everyone, but he cannot get a win. And that's just, you know, it is what it is. But you keep this up, this kind of record, 4 kills a week, a win's gonna come, because that you can't keep that up and knowing.
Like
but I also want to call out Cameron, because he's got a beautiful love of symmetry here, with 3 Mons at 3-0, getting him 3rd place. And that is nothing if not beautiful. Ditto, this week, coming out 3-0, didn't make an appearance last week. Omastar shows up this week, 3-0. Didn't actually do anything this week, but got it all last week. And Regieleki, who didn't show up this week, we got a 3-0 last week. It's all big plays. I got to shout out a bunch of 3-1s. There's about 5 3-1 Mons in the background, just waiting for their chance to get into this ranking. And I also want to shout out the Hall of Shame, which will hopefully start next week. We've currently got about 8 or 9 0-2 Mons. So we'll hope that by next week we've got about 5 0-3 Mons, and we'll be able to give them a hard time.
Thanks for that update, Thomas. And now we'll go and talk about our favorite nicknames of the week.
I would like to shout out, a little nostalgia for me here. What Friends Are For, Jackson's Mandibuzz, giving it back to that Jungle Book. Hope y'all get the reference, okay? These cultures are singing man.
That's what friends are for.
There you go. And nice side shout out to Baloo the Bar, another nice Jungle Book reference. So really getting it in there. Coming in at second place, I love No Clue What It Is. Nico's Hattering. He's not wrong. I mean, you can't argue. What is it? It's the hat stand, I guess, in a dress. Is best guess. I don't know.
I think the nickname psyched Teddy out because he was like, "Oh, he doesn't know what this thing does."
No clue what it does.
He doesn't know this thing gets.
I don't know.
He doesn't know it gets Giga Drain.
On that topic, my third place here. Do I look high? Teddy Seismitoad blasting off on this nice Giga Drain from your boy Hat. So that's gonna be my top 3 of the week. Shout out to Alex for University's theme. Am I right on that? I know Stanford.
Yeah, it was
basketball.
It was cities with teams that had names that resembled the Pokemon.
All right, so we got a geographical theme team. I love a good theme, folks. So if you can put together a theme team, you're getting a shout out from me. So keep it up. Y'all know you are going to hit those focus blasts if you have fire enough nicknames. So don't sleep on it.
All right, that's, I think, pretty sick. And now we're going to just talk about some power rankings by Teddy.
Alrighty. These are the, in my opinion, only mine, my professional opinion, the 4 best trainers for that week. So sometimes, not necessarily for this week, but you can lose and still make this list. If you, for example, something bad happens to you, like let's just say every hazard gets put up on your side of the field and all your mons are paralyzed, but you still somehow get it to like a 1-mon game, that's some heat. You're going to make it onto the power rankings. But, that doesn't really happen. I have some explanations for why. And, I'll give you my list. I have week 1s and week 2s, so we can do the changes. And you guys can tell me why my list is right. So we'll start with number 4 from last week is Ryan. Ryan played great, but sometimes it's I'll put it like this. If James Harden scores 60 points against the Knicks, he scores 60 points and it's amazing, but it's against the Knicks. So, unfortunately, due to his opponent not understanding certain abilities and misplaying, I gotta put him in number 4 for that week, for week 1. That's what I'll say. So now third on the list is me. I got a 6-0, but my 6-0 wasn't a pretty 6-0. It was a lot of bullshit that I extended the battle to get that 6-0, and Rowan made some plays. It wasn't a stomp. I just got lucky with that 6-0, but still 6-0 to 6-0, number 3. Number 2, Alex. Great team building, just fantastic. I knew he was gonna be up there as soon as Zapdos took 18 from a sludge wave. I was like, that's team building right there. It was great. Great win, number 2. And then number 1, it had to be Cam. Regieleki, we were all scared of it. We let it in, and it just stomped. It just went in, just ramrodded. Who did he play again? Nico. Just ramrodded Nico. So yeah, that's why it's number 1. Now we're going to move on to week 2. Week 2, we have some movement here, so we'll talk about this here. Coming in at number 4 is Thomas. Thomas with a really quality win over Alex. You gotta love, you capitalized on Alex's mistakes there. It was great. You got rid of Melodic, that was big. You got rid of Tangrowth, that was big. And then you let like Drake has like one trick, and you were able to do that. Like it was like Reggie Alecki. You're scared of like the electric type attacks. If you don't stop the electric type attack, it's gonna do its thing. Thomas number 4. Good job. Number 3, gotta give it to Nico. Nico just like it's always a great sign of a trainer when the situation changes and you're able to adapt. I tricked his Hippo. Hippo isn't really a mon that ever run the choice card. When he adapted, he gave me the business. Just like he adapted. I love that in trainers. Great. He's number 3. Number 2, moving up from number 4 is Ryan. Because like I said, now James Harden dropping 60 on the Knicks is one thing, but James Harden dropping 60 on like, you know, the 76ers, that defense is something else. It's real. It's like you went to work, got a great win, just did it all. And number 1 for the second week in a row, Cam. He can't be stopped. He's the trainer to beat. He sucker punched 5 times in a row. You don't see that in battles. Like it's too good. He's out here. He's the guy to beat, guys. That's Teddy's A-list for this week. So I assume you guys have a really problem with the list, and I'm waiting for it to be validated.
Yeah,
You picked all the winners. Can't argue with that.
Sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes it's obvious. I will say, like, you know, looking just outside is Jackson. Like, if anything, just because of the Rillaboom, it's just you can't ignore it.
8 and 2. It's a league of its own.
okay.
But it's not enough. But like, we'll see.
Not enough. That's the problem.
If Jackson loses again next week, but Rillaboom's like
12 and 3. 12 and 3.
Like, we might just have to bring it in because like it's giving people the business.
Oh, I want to shout out Get Good at Darts versus No You.
I appreciate that as well. That was points.
Yeah, it's good times.